Start recording. Here we go. Good evening. Welcome to Fantastic Dimensions. This is the continuation of The Eyes of a Stranger for Hudson and Brand, our Call of Cthulhu by Gaslight campaign. Now, we've kind of just caught up to where we were in the pre-game chat. So the night of Monday, the 14th of December, Ruben is on a train back to London. He'll be getting back late at night. By the time you get back to Soho, it's probably going to be somewhere around 11 or midnight. Is there anything anybody else wants to do that night in the late evening, or should we go to Tuesday morning?
The morning's fine for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, morning's good. I was muted. Sorry.
Okay.
Yep, morning's fine.
Cool. So we will then go to Tuesday morning, the 15th of December. I'll wake up whatever times you normally wake up in the morning. Markham will, of course, have breakfast. Actually, let's see. This is a Tuesday. Yeah, Markham will be preparing breakfast because Mrs. Levi doesn't work on Tuesdays. Let's see here. I forgot all our talking. I was looking up all this other stuff from the last session. I forgot to look at where I'm at for today's session. But I've gone too far, apparently. Yes, okay. So, yeah, what do you do Tuesday morning? What's your plan of action? You're all reunited. Ruben is back. He got back in the middle of the night. Got a decent night's sleep, I presume, unless you're plagued by nightmares, Mr. Carmichael Brand, from previous experiences. I don't know. But
No nightmare. He sleeps like a baby.
does he? Good.
Well, like a sleepy baby, not a screaming baby.
Right.
Yeah, crying all night.
Waking up every hour.
Pooping on myself.
Markham has to feed him again in the middle of the night.
Double my diapers up.
So, yeah, so what's your plan?
We'll follow up with the data, and if it's public knowledge that August is with the Masons and that the Masons are cleared and all that, and if not, then I suppose he's going to deal with that on his own.
None of the Mason stuff is public knowledge to anybody.
Okay, very good. So Ruben will return with the unfortunate knowledge that the asylum is a no-go at this time because they were scared he was too tight.
Yep.
Perhaps if we could gain some kind of letter of introduction or such.
True. Yeah. No. If we need to go back, I would definitely suggest a different approach. Letters of introduction would be most helpful.
Master Carmichael, we did cover one bit of information that I think you would find interesting.
Indeed.
What is August's last name?
Breckenridge Dunhampton.
Master Breckenridge Dunhampton has discovered something in his inquiries yesterday involving our unfortunate victim. He attended several social gatherings that definitively show that he is no longer, or could not have been, the Ripper.
Indeed. Could his identical twin had showed up to those events and he'd still be the Ripper?
I very much doubt that there was a man who looked exactly like him. And it was more than one event.
Well, very good. So that direction's out of question. So
what you have here,
not the Ripper.
Right.
So we should probably pass that information along to our connection, Sergeant Parlow, and let him pass it on to Scotland Yard so that perhaps he can elevate himself and we'll gain one more feather in our hats with locals.
Indeed. Shall I?
On that matter, I shall be returning to Scotland Yard to speak with my contact there. don't believe I know this. This
Sergeant Parlow?
policeman. Yeah,
Yeah,
Sergeant Parlow.
he's a friend of the agency. Let me, with that thought in hand, let me go ahead and get that information to him, toot sweet, so that he can act on it and perhaps beat you to the punch, so that he can, in fact, gain a little bit for it. We can't always offer him benefits for the help that they do present, and we could always use an extra favor. So why don't I deal with that? So I will. I'm assuming that. Damn it, I never remember that kid's name.
Albie?
Albie. I assume Albie will be there for his morning
The
round.
What
the
time
thing
in the
is,
morning do you think Albie starts usually? I mean, I think it might be a
I
little
would say
early still.
Albie comes very early
Does he?
because, yeah,
Okay.
probably starts his day off there.
This is your breakfast
The thing-
time, so. Yep.
Yeah.
the thing is, sir, this information, which, well, truth be told, was a combination of our research, certain dates, and certain suspicions confided to me, because I think the fact that he was under suspicion for being the Ripper was actually on the hush.
Was it
I don't know if I.
though? Because I know you had you had other people following up some of those leads, right? Like,
Yeah, no, the police, as far as I know, the police were firmly ready to put everything on to
they're I think
Bidwell.
on to Bidwell.
yeah, I
They
think
dropped-
was it Inspector Cleveland who was suspicious of the connection, or was it Sergeant Parlow? I can't remember who brought it up to you.
When I went to see Cleveland, he said that it was of grave concern to the Masons.
No, that wasn't
that
Cleveland.
Bidwell-
That was the other
Oh.
gentleman. That was Inspector.
Yeah, the inspector.
What's his name? Well, Cleveland's an inspector as well, but there's another guy. Damn it. Sergeant. Sorry, that was Detective Sergeant James Mulverville. He's the
Yeah, I
Mason
have
officer.
Inspector Martin Cleveland is who we were dealing with,
Okay, so that's from the first session, is it?
right?
Inspector
Okay.
Cleveland and his partner, I can't remember their name, were the ones who are actually officially on the case.
Pet
Sergeant
Craig.
Detective Mulverville is, maybe just working. He works for Scotland Yard, so he might be supporting, but the case basically belongs to Inspector Cleveland.
Okay, because Mulverville was the one that told me it was.
Yeah, Mulverville was the one who showed up at the house when you guys had snuck in there, and yeah, he's.
And he said that they were very wary that any connection could be made to the Masons.
Yeah, I think if I recall correctly, I believe the fear was that Scotland Yard was starting to suspect a Jack the Ripper link to Bidwell.
Okay.
But Mulverville's concern was that if they find Bidwell's connection to the Masons, then it becomes a real problem.
All right, cool. I got a handle on it now.
You got it wrong there, John. It's Breckenridge Dunhampton.
Yeah, I had it. I was retyping it.
It's one of those hyphenated last names, like Carmichael Brand, Breckenridge
Right.
Dunhampton. I have written down because I always forget it as well.
Well, August, as you may or may not know, Hudson Brand has a tumultuous relationship with the city as a whole. So any positive thing we can get with anyone is a feather in our collective caps. So if you're telling me that someone would be harmed by passing this information, then I wouldn't. But it is definitely something that would help us as far as, again, gaining a bit of favor and legitimacy, where we found something out when we were looking for something else in a rabbit hole that exonerates someone else. That's information that they could definitely use.
The doorbell rings. Markham goes to answer it. Sorry. Please continue.
Then by all means, good sir, make use of it.
Albie comes running in with the morning paper.
Albie, I need you to get information to Sergeant Parlow, toot sweet.
Look at this, Mr. Brand. Look at this on the front page of the paper. They believe the murderer is in Limehouse. There's a lot of cops down there right now. Cops? We say cops? I don't know if they call them cops, but yeah. Probably. Cops sounds good.
Coppers. I don't know.
And yeah, front page of the paper. Bidwell murderer suspected to be hiding out in Limehouse. Police or Scotland Yard plan raid or something, something along those lines. It's a morning, morning paper, little 1 penny kind of newspaper thing.
All right. Well,
What do they call them? Not a penny dreadful, penny daily. That's it.
They'd been called Bobbies even then, because it started in 1929 when it was established by Sir Robert Peel.
What?
Police, that is.
Oh, really?
Bobbies, yeah.
Bobby's, okay. Wait, Bobby's was established in 1929?
Yeah, that was Robert Peel who established the force in 1929.
But we're in 1892 or
1891. 1829.
Oh,
1829 is what I
1829.
said.
Okay,
Yeah, police officers in London are also known as peelers.
cool. So yeah, there's a bunch of peelers.
Bobbies are peelers. Yeah. Anyways, history lesson
there's a
over.
bunch of peelers down there right now, including your friend that bossy inspector, Cleveland.
Is it out of Parlow's district or is it in his district? Has he got Limehouse?
No, he's in Whitechapel.
Okay. Send one of your crows to Sergeant Parlow. Tell him that we found some information, corroborating information that the suspicions that John Bidwell might have been the Ripper was false, and that he was in fact other places during several of the murders. And then send the rest of your crows and any spare birds you got, skip school today, and go hit the Limehouse area and gather what information you can. And here's some coins to pass around if you need to.
Master Carmichael, perhaps I could whip up a short note for our young friend to pass along to is it Sergeant Parlow?
Sergeant Parlow.
To Sergeant Parlow. That's quite a bit of information to just have young men running around with.
Indeed.
And words can be misinterpreted.
Well spoken. I should have taken you with me to the asylum, Belgrave.
Indeed. And I'll go and I'll write up a letter.
In the meantime, Albie, go get yourself something to eat.
And should we go post haste to this, the scene of the crime, such as it is? Well, the scene of the capture, Limehouse.
If we do, we need to make sure that we stay together. We don't want to spread out and be caught individually. We were already suspect once. We'll stay in the carriage, as it were. Grab yourself
Very
something to
good.
eat, gentlemen, and we'll get out of here. Call for our coachman.
Okay. Yeah, your coachman, that guy.
The coachman.
The coachman. Albert Stafford. Yes, he's ready to go. He's always here in the mornings, especially. He only takes other jobs on appointment, and once he always clears that with you and puts somebody else on standby if he's going to be gone. So, excuse me. Cleveland is not Australian. Did I give you the impression that he was?
I thought I heard that Aussie. I thought I
Oh,
heard
no.
you say.
No. That bossy inspector.
Like,
bossy.
Oh,
Bossy.
bossy. Okay, sorry. It's just what we were talking about.
It was in the first session. He made a big scene when he came to Hudson Brand to interrogate everyone about the murder. He, commandeered one of the bedrooms for an interrogation room and interrogated them one by one, and was demanding coffee and fresh coffee because the coffee was cold then. And yeah, he was just a pain in the ass. He's kind of a dick.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I do believe somebody spit in his coffee, didn't they?
Somebody was going to. Yeah.
No, he did. Whoever our questionable ethics person
was it
that's
Merrick?
no longer with us.
Yeah, the cat burglar who was a potential suspect, maybe.
Yeah, he spit.
Yeah. Anyway.
Big loogie.
So, yeah, so you guys get ready to go. Hop in the four of you hop in the carriage. It's not a hansom cab; it's an actual carriage. And
I will bring my pistol with me.
Indeed.
Stafford gets you on the way. Yeah, no problem.
Pistols at the ready, right?
Mm-hmm. Sure. At the ready, like in your hand, cocked and ready to fire? No, as in just
London at the ready.
Well, but okay. So you, Albie actually comes with you. because he can tell you exactly where he saw them. And sure enough, once you get down there in the still relatively early in the morning, it's just after breakfast. You didn't even finish your coffee. You left a half a cup of coffee sitting in the parlor. Where is it here? Yes. So you find
Good riddance.
Cleveland and
Coffee is foul.
Cleveland and a group of policemen preparing to make a raid on a dilapidated-looking warehouse in Emmett Street. Albert kind of pulls up and stops, just around the corner, so you can see, and he kind of leans down. Would he have a thing? Would he be able to talk to you? I'm sure that you can talk to the coachman somehow.
Sure, yeah. They probably like a little
Yeah.
little catch window that slides open.
Yeah, I don't know if it's something like that. He says, "Well, where would you like me to park, or do you want me to just stop here, or do you want to be a little more discreet, or should I just drive you right up?"
I think we should ride right up. I think
Sure.
discreet would gain
He pulls
attention.
up around the corner and drives up and drops you guys off like, less than half a block from these gathering policemen. Inspector Cleveland sees you immediately because he's watching the carriage to see who's pulling up. And he tells the men to hold on, and he starts walking towards you. "Oh, Master Carmichael Brand, to what do we owe the pleasure?"
Good morning, Inspector. In the process of doing our own research for our, clearing our names and all the rest of the stuff, because we're curious folk, we came across some details that had exonerated Mr. Bidwell as being he looked side to side, the Ripper. And we just thought we would pass it along. We didn't know if it would be helpful at this particular moment.
We're a little busy right now. We're getting ready to raid this warehouse. We believe the killer is inside.
Well, we will stay out of your way,
August,
sir.
Gerard, and Belgrave, you may make spot hidden rolls, please.
All right, let's see what we got here. Guys, guess I should have had those ready.
So you're very near the dockyards here in Limehouse.
Oh no, that's
No.
a 75.
Belgrave is intent on
just
conversation.
a normal success.
That's good enough. How did Gerard do?
He rolled a 43, and I'm kind of thinking that might be all right. I'm trying to get down to my character sheet to look it over. Just, you can go ahead. I'll let you know.
That's okay. Yeah, because Augie knows it anyway. You don't forget to tick mark your skills when you make a successful roll like that, of course, too, because you can improve it later. So
yeah, I made it. It was 59.
Yes, the name of this warehouse is Dunnigan's Warehouse. You may remember Godfrey Wilson was talking about Duncan or Duggan.
Coincidence.
Oh, Harry Potter. No.
Indeed.
It's my son on the piano.
Cool. Very good. Yes. So the police gather up and quickly they charge into the place, actually with guns drawn because they're expecting trouble. They think a murderer is in here. But you don't hear any gunfire. You don't hear any shouting once they're inside. It all gets pretty quiet.
I'm gonna kind of wander down the street just a tad and look around, look towards like alleys and stuff exiting away from the warehouse.
Well, you would see there are crowds of Chinese passersby kind of looking on because this is the neighborhood that will be in just a couple of short years called Chinatown.
Look for someone who's not Chinese fleeing the area.
A few constables trying to keep people back, because some people want to try to, they want to eavesdrop. They want to see what's going on inside the warehouse, and he's keeping people back. And what did you say? Sorry.
Watch for non-Chinese people fleeing the area.
Yeah, good call.
I take it the police have got it pretty good. They've got it pretty well surrounded.
Yeah, pretty well. It's not great. I mean, just enough to deter anybody who doesn't want to get on the bad side of the police from running into the building.
Is there anything that gives away the nature of, like, say the district we're in, or the setup of the warehouse, to see, like, are there any other avenues of escape, for example, by water or anything?
Well, yeah,
like
you
that?
are near the dockyards, so it's pretty close to the is the river
But
Thames.
it's built on dry land.
Yes,
For
it is.
example?
Yeah, it's not built on the water. This isn't the harbor itself. This isn't actual. This is just a warehouse. So this would be someplace. They unload ships. They bring stuff in. They store it in the warehouses. That kind of thing. So you're like a street or something away, maybe. I bet you if we look up a map of London, you could find Emmett Street and Limehouse.
Following these thoughts, if it looks like that there's an area of egress for someone that was inside trying to get away, and that we could see it from where we are, we could reposition ourselves to get a better view, whether it be a back alley, a low-lying roof, or, as noted, the docks.
Should we spread out or go in pairs?
At least pairs, if not all together.
Okay.
Don't want to get caught by yourself with all this going on.
Where are you going? Sorry, I was looking up Emmett Street.
If there was any obvious,
Yeah, I'll go with Belgrave, and I guess we're looking. He was heading to the back of the warehouse. Is that correct?
Walking around anyway. Yeah,
Yep.
looking for anything
Well,
suspicious.
I wasn't leaving the area. I was just looking where police presence is thin for
Yeah.
non-Chinese people running away.
Sure,
then I
like
guess
around the back of the warehouse. That
Gerard
makes
will
sense.
go.
Right.
We'll go in the other direction to monitor, see if any jumps out of windows towards the docks or anything like that.
Inspector Cleveland comes out from the front door of the warehouse and says, Mr. Carmichael Brand, I think you'll want to see this.
Yes, sir. He'll gather his men's attention if he can.
He says, we found 2 bodies. Does he gather your attention? I'm going to assume yes. Everybody.
Sure. We hadn't gotten that far.
Yeah. So as you go back inside, the first thing you see is the body of Hanson Bartlett lying crumpled on the dusty floor. And then a little bit beyond that, there's another body. It's the body of Wilhelm von Zorn.
What?
Both are obviously dead.
Well, that is distressful. Does it look like von Zorn tried to stop the butler?
Well, police are kind of checking right now, like checking the bodies and stuff. And Inspector Cleveland, given that this is your partner and friend, etc., will probably have a little sympathy towards you and say, well, we found bruises around both of their throats. It looks like they were both strangled to death, possibly by each other, but have you ever heard of 2 men strangling each other to death, and the bodies aren't that close together? Somebody could have moved them after the fact, I suppose.
Inspector von Zorn was many things, but he was never unarmed. He almost always carried a pistol with him, at least.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he would have resorted to choking.
Yeah, his pistol is on him. So is his wallet, or whatever they carry, his purse. I don't know what they had back then, but probably a wallet.
Interesting. Is there blood spatter from gunshots or anything like that?
Nope. And Cleveland takes the gun and checks it and smells it. Whatever else, doesn't look like it's been fired at all. Not anytime recently.
What about the trauma to the throat? Does it look perhaps like it was done by someone of extraordinary strength?
Do the bruises go all the way around the neck, or is it fairly traditional, like in the front where it crushes the trachea?
Fairly traditional, yeah. Traditional strangling. Let's see here.
Are the necks broken, or are they just choked? Crooked angle, anything like that?
Because I'm basically extending.
They're not at a crooked angle, no.
Because from the fire poker that was thrust through his chest,
indeed,
possibly looking for a perpetrator of great strength.
Yep. Yeah, it does look like it was extreme strength. Some of the, just feeling around, because I mean they didn't have fingerprint technology back then or anything, so they're checking. It feels like some of the bones in the neck are indeed crushed, which probably strikes a familiar little little nostalgia in your mind there, Ruben, to a previous case where you found a murder victim who had been strangled to death and the bones in his throat was crushed. Do you remember that?
The jackal.
Mm.
So who owns this warehouse?
Oh, we're looking into all that right now.
Well,
Give
Inspector,
me a spot hidden roll.
Spot hidden. All right.
Just Ruben?
57. Yeah, I got a regular.
Everybody could, but I mean, since he was speaking and looking around the immediate area. Yeah, you see, there is a pile of books, several books piled on a nearby crate.
Well, he will make his way over to the books nonchalantly.
Yep, they all deal with world history, industrial and scientific history, and astronomy. Do you have any Cthulhu mythos?
No.
Okay. Does anybody in the group have Cthulhu mythos? I don't think any of you do. I think
I
Zora.
thought I
One
did.
person does, but
Yeah.
it's not very high.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
Not me.
Maybe Gerard
One.
does. Yeah, that's true. He's been around a bit.
I thought he had like
Cthulhu.
3 or something in it.
What
Probably.
would it be?
It's in your
What would it
skills,
be under?
alphabetical order, Cthulhu mythos.
Cthulhu or under Cthulhu? Okay.
That's
Yeah, I have a 2. Ooh,
a 2.
It's still a shot.
a 2.
A 2? Why only 2?
I don't know.
Oh, 'cause weren't you driven insane by a mythos encounter once?
Yep.
Yeah, add 5 to that. You should have 7.
Okay. Yes, 7.
Because yeah, the first time you get driven insane by a Cthulhu mythos encounter, you gain 5 immediately. So, okay, so you have 7. So go ahead and give me a roll. You have a percentage chance.
Okey-dokey.
7% chance. It's better than nothing.
A 4.
A 4?
Oh,
Spend it.
yes.
Wow.
Wow. He
Spend
doesn't
it.
need to spend it. He rolled a 4. He's got 7.
Yeah. Right.
All right.
You
Wow.
recognize one of those books. It's called I'm going to pronounce it wrong, the Narcotic Manuscripts, Pnakotic. I'll type that in the chat too. Might be Pinacotic, but I think it's narcotic. I assume the P is silent. Narcotic Manuscripts. And there's something about that book. It's to deal with like pre-human lore.
Okay.
And I assume, Ruben, you're kind of flipping open the books, whatever. You'll see they're stamped by the British Museum. So they're property of the museum. They shouldn't even be here. There are also several sheets of paper under the books that are covered with strange diagrams and mathematical formulae. Very crude, scrawled handwriting.
Sleight of hand.
I have a question. Is it anything similar to the Cthulhu books we got a hold of from? I want to say it was something there around the docks or whatever.
You're talking about the diary you got from that Cho sorcerer, the guy who was animating the zombies and stuff.
Yes, yeah, that one.
Yeah, that's probably what you heard of the book. It was probably mentioned in his diary somewhere. That would make sense.
Okay, I'll share the information with the group.
Quietly, I assume.
Quietly, yes, very quietly. Yeah.
Ruben, go ahead and give me your roll for your sleight of hand. If you're going to try to
sleight of hand with
what are you trying to pocket?
The papers.
The papers. Okay. Would you roll?
26 out of a 76.
Okay,
So you
make
got
sure you were a good pickpocket once upon a time, weren't you? Go ahead and check mark that.
Strictly for stage magic related.
Of course. Put your check mark, and yeah, you grab those papers. Do you look at them?
No.
In any kind of detail before you do that?
No.
No. Okay.
But what he will do is just go ahead and secure the books under his arm and go on about their business.
Give me a luck roll, please, Ruben.
Luck roll it is. Stand by. 48. Stand by. His current luck is a 49, so he just made it.
Okay, now give me a hard spot hidden roll.
Yikes. Stand by. I did not make it.
Okay.
I
Do you
got a
want to spend
79.
luck? No.
No, it's 79. There's no way.
Do you want to push the roll? Pushing the roll means that you're lingering around the area, and if you fail the push roll, then it'll draw police attention to the books and whatever.
He currently does not want to draw any attention, so he would not push the moment. There's nothing to be gained
Okay.
other than metagaming know that you want me to, so I'm not going to.
Okay, no problem. All right. Yeah, so the police are, they've searched the entire warehouse. Nobody hiding anywhere.
Is it is it obvious that the butler's been hiding out here for a while? Is there like a bed situation or any food?
Yeah. There's somebody. They'll find evidence that somebody's been sleeping here for probably at least a couple of days, based on like food that's found maybe, and like a kind of a sleeping area, like you said. No, not a bed, but yeah, like a makeshift bed. Somebody's been sleeping here for a couple of days, it would seem. And both men, would they be able to determine how long they've been dead? They probably would, right? Just from rigor mortis and stuff.
Maybe.
Maybe. And both men have been dead for probably a day. Maybe they're not like rotting fresh yet, but
I'm gonna
ripe.
look around the walls, look for some kind of something hanging from the walls that might declare who is the owner of this warehouse.
Sure. Give me a luck roll.
Yeah, no, that's an 80.
No, there's nothing.
All right.
I suppose like you find information maybe on some of the crates.
Sure.
So
Like,
it's
how would this guy know to come here, kind of thing?
yeah, it's let me see here. Excuse me, sorry.
What would prompt him to use this place as his hideout, I should say.
Pardon me. Just trying to see if Dunnigan's warehouse. Yeah, it just belongs to a like a shipping company out of London. It's shipping and receiving. Nothing nefarious. It's not what's that one? The illegal land company. You guys have had run-ins
I don't know them though.
before. You don't, but the agency does.
Excuse me. I was looking for like a family name.
And if you've studied any of the agency files, you would. So, but
true.
yeah, it's some there'd be a family name. It's not really relevant though. I don't have a name for it. It's probably Dunnigan. It's probably the Dunnigan family, I guess. That's why it's the Dunnigan warehouse. So
I was wondering if it might have been the family that he was working for in between his time with our victim.
It is not. It is not.
Go then. All right.
Inspector Cleveland, is it?
Yes. I'm sorry, I don't believe we've had the pleasure.
August Breckenridge Dunhampton, sir.
You have a high credit rating, right?
Like 50 or something.
Yeah. Oh, Master Breckenridge Dunhampton. It's a pleasure.
Well, would that I could say the same, sir. This is a dire situation, and
oh yes, I'm sorry. Master Von Zorn must have been a friend of yours.
Indeed, he was, sir. And perhaps I could inquire when his body may be released for proper rites and burial.
Well, I suppose we could let you know. Of course, it would be up to his family or next of kin as to what to be done with it. But yes, if you tell me where you're staying, I could make sure to inform you.
Well, while I am in town, I shall be staying at the Hudson Brand agency. And do I know?
Yes, of course.
His next of like what his next of
Were,
kin is, or
were
if
you
he
close
has.
friends with
Uh,
Zorn? I
it's
can't recall.
probably like well, he had ties to Africa, like August, I think. So we probably just did a lot of drinking and
You
reminiscing at the
you
gentleman's
probably
club.
know that he's in London because of how much would you know? He's in London because of an ex, basically, an ex-girlfriend,
Okay.
not an ex-wife, but
So his family's in the continent, right?
yeah, like all
Yes.
of his actual next of kin, blood kin, would be back in Prussia,
Hmm.
Germany. Oh wait, it wouldn't
Well,
be called Germany yet, would it? No.
Yeah, Prussia. Yeah, well, I'll generally engage the inspector in conversation about these particulars, and uh, did you find anything of Zorn's, or perhaps that the butler may have taken from him?
Oh yeah, it is. Sorry, it's called the German Empire now. Cool.
Okay.
No, no, we haven't found any signs of robbery. His wallet was still on him. His gun was still on him.
Hmm.
I have to assume that Master von Zorn was pursuing this case on his own since he had been accused, or at least had been a suspect at one point in the case. He must have come here looking for Bidwell. Perhaps Bidwell killed him and then someone else killed Bidwell, or the other way around. Or maybe someone else was here and killed both of them. I can't be sure at this time. Anyway, even if I was sure, I probably shouldn't be discussing it with you. He suddenly realizes that he's saying way too much.
Very well, sir. Let
No
me not
offense, of course,
intrude
Master Dunhampton.
upon your investigations.
I'm very
Yeah, no,
sorry
but
about the loss of your friend. I guess
yeah,
this closes the case of the murder of John Bidwell, nonetheless.
Indeed.
Unless
Hmm.
the person who killed John Bidwell killed Hanson Bartlett, left his body here, and then killed his own partner in jealous rage. He looks at Reuben suspiciously. No, just kidding. Yeah, well, I guess that's our man. So they're going to start getting the bodies taken up, and um, basically, sorry for your loss, but you got to get the fuck out.
Ruben's going to make his way to the coach to put the books away.
Okay, as you kind of leave the warehouse, um, and yeah, you put the books into the carriage. Stafford sees the look on your face. Says, "Is everything all right, sir?"
No, sir. They found the butler and Van Zorn strangled to death.
Master von Zorn.
Indeed.
He takes his hat off. This is terrible.
Yes. It compounds the mystery as well as leaving us with heavy hearts.
What about the rest of you? Belgrave, August, Gerard.
I'm sorry. I thought I was muted. I will again look through the crowd to see if there's anyone again who does not appear to be Chinese,
Just
or of
mostly just
Asian
the
descent.
police.
But other than the police, anyone who seems to be particularly interested in watching us, maybe gauging for a reaction or something.
Okay, give me a luck roll.
Oh yeah.
Okay. You're kind of looking for that. You're looking around, checking the crowds to see what's going on, and you suddenly hear the sounds of a scuffle on the street corner, like just like a little over half a block away, the far street corner from where you are.
Grab the side of the
Then you
carriage and
hear
like haul
the
myself.
unmistakable sound of a police whistle.
Yeah, grab the side of the carriage and hoist myself up to look over the crowd.
Okay. You will see a police constable struggling with a young-looking Chinese woman who now lies writhing and growling savagely on the ground at his feet. There is a group of Chinese passers-by now gathering around them, shouting and gesticulating. You can't understand anything they're saying. The
No.
constable, I don't think so. Anyway, do you speak Chinese? No.
Should I roll to see if I? No, I'm kidding.
Wrong game. Wrong game.
Oh yeah, right.
You see the constable now is trying to restrain the young woman. Then he staggers backwards, almost drunkenly.
Watch more intently.
He turns and looks at you and runs off.
The cop does.
Yes.
I shall return, sir, and hop down and give chase.
So you start rushing over that way.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody following Belgrave as he goes running off towards the crowd and towards the police whistle you just heard?
If Ruben is
definitely.
in view of it, he will definitely go.
Okay. So Belgrave leads. Ruben is following. August? Probably as well. You're a
Yep.
man of action. Yeah.
Man of action. It's the hunt.
I think Rob is AFK. So
No, I'm here now.
Okay.
I'm back.
So would Gerard also follow?
Sure.
Okay, so Gerard also. So the other three in tow. Belgrave, you run forward, and
Yes.
then as you're approaching the scene where he's just fled from, the crowd is trying to help the Chinese woman up,
Mm-hmm.
and out of her mouth, you hear a voice crying for help in Cockneyed English. I mean,
There's plenty of police to help.
he says, "Get your hands off me! I'm a constable of the police." And he looks at himself, or she looks at herself. He says, stop her!" And he's pointing at the direction that the police officer ran off in.
Mhm.
Okay, so I've already seen one strange thing in my time working with Hudson and Brand,
Indeed.
aka a walking statue. I will continue to chase the constable.
Okay, give me a sanity roll first.
Yeah.
In fact, I guess you
shit.
all can, because like anybody who realizes, anybody who suspects that what the hell, this constable's mind is in the body of the young Chinese woman.
Barely a success.
Yeah, I rolled a 29 under 30.
Okay. If anybody failed the sanity roll, let me know.
No, success.
Let's see. So you go running off after the constable. The crowd, of course, is in the way, not helping very much, slowing you as you push your way through them.
I will shout.
But not slowing the cop.
They're shouting at you in Chinese.
Mm-hmm. I will put on my most intimidating face and shout, "Give way!"
Ooh! Hold on. Ruben speaks Chinese. He'll call out to everyone. That policeman raped a Chinese woman. Stop him.
They turn and start shouting angrily and start running in the same direction.
I just kind of look at Ruben and raise an eyebrow and shrug and keep chasing.
Okay. Unfortunately, you don't know which way he went.
I was hoping that all those eyes might have seen where he went.
So you keep following the crowd. You run for several blocks. They split up at multiple points and go in different directions. So you have to choose: do I go with this group, go with that group? And and after several blocks, you'll realize you're just chasing the wind.
I'll stop at that point.
Damn it.
If you would like to wait here, sir, I will go and retrieve the carriage.
Indeed.
This
will
may be a task for your irregulars. I would say, turning to Breathless, to Ruben.
He will look for anyone who looks in a position of authority, or at least an elder amongst the Chinese, and ask them if they might have seen which way he went. I mean, clearly they haven't. I'm just trying to establish communication.
No idea. They look a little surprised that you're speaking to them in Chinese. How good is your Chinese, by the way? What's your percentage?
33.
Yeah, your 30%, I think, is fluent speaking, at least. So, yeah, they're surprised by your proficiency with their language, but no, they don't know who you're talking about. What constable?
I'll just let them know that a constable assaulted a young Chinese woman around the corner and is in the immediate area, and he's running. He would not be in a position of authority, so it'd be pretty obvious. Pass it along to your fellow members of the community.
Okay.
Can we head back to the warehouse? Is that young Chinese woman still around, being questioned?
Yes, the constables, and she's frantic. She's freaking out. And she's still speaking perfect Cockney English, but she's arguing with the constable, and they're trying to calm her.
He will
make way, sirs. I have some grasp of hypnotism. This may be some kind of mesmeric trance.
In the meantime, he's going to try to find Inspector Cleveland.
Okay, you go looking for Inspector Cleveland. Belgrave has gone off to fetch the carriage. August, what are you going to do with the woman?
I basically
try to calm her down with psychoanalysis.
Well, actually, I have no such skills.
Okay.
But I would probably try and intimidate, at least believing that this person believes they're the policeman.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's saying, "I'm Constable Bill Baker."
Yeah, Bill Baker. Okay.
And the constable's like, yes, likely story. And you see now that they're preparing to arrest her.
And what is the last thing you remember before this happened?
That woman, she was watching the Dunnigan warehouse. Oh, wait, no, and he gets confused again, looking at his clothes and grabs his tits. I was like, what the fuck, She started to run and then fell to the ground. I was trying to restrain her, and then I don't know, something weird happened, and there you were, and here I am, and you can't arrest me. I'm Constable Bill Baker.
Was anything dropped in the scuffle? Any object?
He's just freaking out, and he says, I don't know. Check the ground. What are you doing? This is ridiculous. I'm not impersonating a police officer. I am a police officer.
Most curious, I say, stepping back and twirling my mustache.
And the police are dragging her up, and yeah, she's under arrest. If you go back and look, there's nothing dropped on the ground that you would see.
In the meantime of all that, did he catch up with Inspector Cleveland?
Yes, you'll catch up with Inspector Cleveland. He's back in front of the warehouse again, not too far from your carriage, in fact.
Inspector, the situation came up with one of your constables and this young Chinese woman. And I believe it is a point of, and he looks from side to side, and it might be a point of mysticism. I believe it requires your personal attention to separate the young lady from the other constables before something untold happens.
Why? What do you think will happen? He looks over and can see that she's under arrest, and
there's some talk of perhaps a hypnotism or personality swap. The young lady's claiming to be your constable.
I'll deal with it later. I've got so much paperwork to deal with now for this Bidwell case. What do you think Wilhelm was doing down here. You
To
never
be honest,
reported him missing, right?
no.
When's the
To
last
be
time you
honest,
spoke to him?
it has been some time, but to be honest, Wilhelm had a habit of disappearing for days, weeks, even months, off on his own adventures or misadventures, as it would seem.
Mm-hmm.
He did not express to us what he was doing.
And tell me true now. The man's dead. There's nothing more that anyone can do for him. You think he was somehow wrapped up in all this? That he had something to do with the murder?
No, he was a pompous ass, but he was not a murderer of innocence.
He's looking you hard in the eyes, like trying to see into your soul. He nods. Very well. I been doing this job for a long time, seen many horrible things. One thing I know is when someone tells me a bold-faced lie. You did not do that.
No, sir, I did not. He is what he was, you know.
For your candor,
Unfortunately,
I'll give you some information. Let me see, where was it here? When was he? Yes. Late last night or early this morning, I can't really tell the difference anymore. There was a young Chinaman picked up near this warehouse for suspicious actions. He was found running frantically through the warehouse district here, babbling in Chinese. I held him overnight and questioned him, and in the very early hours of this morning, with the aid of an interpreter, of course, he told us that he and two of his friends were following an Occidental man through Chinatown here into this district near this very warehouse. They had planned to rob him. The description they gave us of the man sounded very much like your Wilhelm von Zorn.
indeed.
When confronted, he lashed out at them and snapped two of their necks. Only our drunk was captured, well, escaped to end up being nibbed by my men. Now, frankly, I don't really believe his story entirely. I think he was on opium as well as drinking and not in command of his senses. But he is still in holding. We hope to beat the truth out of him later today.
I speak a bit of Chinese myself, sir. If you wouldn't mind, if I had a few moments with him, at least to try to redeem Van Zorn's reputation, at least. Van Zorn may have been many things, but he was not strong enough to snap a man's neck. He would have shot them or stabbed them with his saber.
Well, yeah, so what we see, he was armed with a rather sizable handgun there when he
Indeed.
was murdered. And we have not found any bodies for these friends, supposedly, of this young man. I think his name is Lee. Do you have an interpreter? The man doesn't speak English.
I speak Chinese, Inspector.
Very well. Well, you were helpful to me during this investigation, and I appreciate that. So, if you wish to speak to the man, I can arrange it.
At your convenience, of course, Inspector. I'll await word.
Better sooner than later. My men will be eager to get on with their interrogating.
Indeed.
Very well. Will we take a cab?
We have a carriage, sir. Would you like to ride with us?
Oh, well, don't mind if I do.
So we'll head back.
Okay. Hey, free carriage ride as opposed to paying for a hansom cab? Why not?
Sure.
Okay. So yeah, he'll take you down to the nearest police
Before he
station
leaves, he'll
to.
check in with his compatriots to make sure
Limehouse.
that they're settled.
Well, I assume you're all going in the carriage together. I apologize.
Exactly. That's what I was going to make sure. Either they were settled or going.
Yeah, like the woman has been taken away. The police will eventually just not let anybody else have any access to her. So, anything else anybody wanted to do before leaving the Emmett Street Limehouse area?
I don't.
Can't think of anything else.
Could I get one more question into that woman as she's being dragged away?
You can shout to her.
Well then, sir, tell me the name of your mother.
Martha! Her name is Martha! Martha Baker! Her maiden name is blah, blah, blah. He just goes on.
Yeah.
And eventually one of the police officers slaps him across the face. And
Punctuation.
Inspector, before we
Shut
leave,
up.
you noted to have a certain amount of acuity to determining if people were lying. Ask that woman directly who she is and see if she is indeed lying.
Oh, yes, I'll get to her later. I don't have time for that right now. She's not going anywhere for a day or two anyway. Just a holding cell.
Did you? Are we all in the same carriage?
Yeah, unless somebody wants to stay behind, but yeah, you only came in
Yeah.
one carriage.
And did you know that Constable Will? Inspector.
Which constable?
The one that fled the scene.
I don't even know who it was yet. I've only been given the word and heard the shouting. I assume he was pursuing some suspect. Why?
I was just wondering if it's rather curious what can happen to the human mind under pressure, but this young Chinese woman was using a voice characteristic of a Cockney local and asserted that their mother's name was Martha Baker. I'm wondering if you could confirm or deny that. But if you don't know the constable in question, I take it you cannot.
No, I'm afraid Constable Baker, there's probably a dozen Constable Bakers, and I can't say I know any of them.
Still something worthy of
As
checking
for
in
the
records.
Chinese woman's delusional rantings, well, you can't trust anything they say. They're all on opium.
As you say.
This used to be a nice neighborhood once. He lies. It might have been a nice neighborhood once, but not in any of your lifetimes. And
We're making our way to the.
it doesn't necessarily have anything to do with the Chinese either as to why it's not. This is also actually, you might recall, Limehouse and Lambeth. That was where the Greens used to operate, and currently, it's under the watchful eyes. It's the territory, if you will, of the what are they called? Oh, no, what's his name? No-nos? No.
No-nos Namdek.
No, Namdek.
No, Namdek. Yeah, thank you. God damn, I couldn't remember his fucking name. Namdek Yu Yang. The remember the Cho-Cho gangster. In fact, I think, if I recall correctly, in session 1 or something, we may have discussed this earlier, that they were currently at war with a Chinese gang as well. But
Right.
yeah. Anyway, it's neither here nor there. So, Constable will take you to the police station in the area, and we'll get you access to. The name is written, that they'll tell you'll be able to see when you go into, because I'm sure you have to sign to something or other to interrogate a suspect. But you being with a with an inquiry agency, it's not really like unusual or anything for that to happen. So yeah, the gentleman's name is Li Zhao. L-I, I'll just type in chat. Li, L-I, Zhao, Z-H-A-O. Li Zhao. You can see he doesn't look too well. He's kind of looks really tired. He's definitely coming down from alcohol and drugs, probably.
Well, he'll come into it with broken Chinese, not letting on that he knows as much as he does, and he'll ask him his name even though he knows his name.
I told you, my name is Li Cao.
You say it in Chinese or English?
Chinese.
Do you speak English, Lee?
No. So this
What
is
happened
the
to
new
what happened to your
tactic.
friends?
You send a Chinese-speaking cop to try to interrogate me before you beat me.
Oh, they're going to beat you. But how badly they beat you depends on how you answer my questions.
I told you. Their necks were broken. He just grabbed each of them, one in each hand, and snapped their necks. I ran.
They found no bodies.
Well, what do you think a killer does? You think he just leaves bodies to be found all the time? Not everybody is as theatrical as your Jack the Ripper. He didn't want to get caught. He hid the bodies. I don't know where. I ran.
Now, would it be obvious to Ruben that there's some sort of mesmerism or body jumping or something? He's seen enough crazy shit. What would you say the most reasonable thing for him to figure out based upon what he's seen?
Are you asking me, do I think Ruben would be able to get the idea that perhaps there is some kind of body switching magic or something?
Right.
Sure. Why not? Considering
Lee,
the things that you've seen,
yeah. Lee, I know that there's a sorcerer or a witch down there and they're switching bodies. Between you and I can get you out of here if you can tell me the
switching
truth.
bodies. Why did it have to be switching bodies? Because the murderer was a white man killing Chinese people? If it was a Chinese man killing Occidentals, you wouldn't say that, would you?
Do you really want to die here?
Please. You're a cop. You're not a killer.
Who's all in the room?
Just the two of you, I suppose.
Hmm.
Unless you brought somebody in with you. They wouldn't let you all in. You could
No,
have maybe
no,
brought
no,
one person.
no. I was just wondering if any cops came in.
Nope. Only Inspector Cleveland came with you, and he just let you in himself. He doesn't give a shit about this guy.
I'm no cop, my friend, but I'm your last hope.
What do you want me to tell you?
I want you to tell me if there's a witch or a sorcerer.
I don't know. We followed the man. We were going to rob him. He looked like he had money. So we waited for the opportunity, and when we went to jump him, he grabbed my two friends, broke both of their necks. I heard the snap. I saw their bodies go limp, and he threw them to the ground as I turned and ran. And the police picked me up maybe an hour later. No, it was even less than that. Felt like forever. I was, we had been drinking and throwing dice, and we had been to. He names off some. He names off the same opium den. In fact, no, he doesn't. He just names off an opium den. I can't think of the name of one off the top of my head. I was going to say the same one that you met Namdak in, but no, that wouldn't make sense. It'd be a different one.
Hmm.
Oh, no, yeah. It's some like freaking tea house basically that has an opium den in the basement, right there in Limehouse. I don't think, if I recall correctly, I don't think opium is technically illegal anyway, so it's not like.
Yeah. All right. Well, good luck. And,
Oh, you can give me a psychology roll.
Good luck with that. Stand by.
Yeah, and he does describe again the man, because I imagine you wanted to check to make sure that he's talking about Wilhelm. And his description sounds exactly like Wilhelm, to the clothes he was wearing and everything.
Okay. Well, against all the odds,
You
he
succeed
actually
on a
rolled a
psychology roll?
1.
Good. You can finally improve your psychology.
Yeah, his psychology is 25. The psychoanalyst was a 1.
Put a tick mark next to the psychology.
I have a tick next to it.
He's telling the truth. He's not lying about anything.
Oh yeah, no, I figured. And tell the inspectors on the way, or the cops on the way out, he doesn't know anything. He's just a local thug. But if beating him is going to make you feel better, then by all means. But he's not going to tell you anything more.
So Inspector Cleveland say, well, I'll make the recommendation to the constables. They'll let them deal with it. I got to go close off this Bartlett Bidwell case.
Thank you,
Again,
Inspector.
I'm sorry about your friend. I'm sure he was probably just down there trying to be a hero, trying to solve the case on his own. It's
Indeed.
unfortunate that it ended up being his undoing.
I suspect you're correct, Inspector. Thank you for your consideration and letting us have the insight here. And if we hear anything from the street, we'll definitely let you know as soon as possible. And again, when the opportunity presents itself, we do have the evidence that exonerates Bidwell as being the Ripper. But I know you have more than enough on your plate right now.
Ah, okay. So that thread is a dead end as well. I guess that case continues as well. Would have been a good fine feather in my cap had I caught the Ripper.
Indeed,
well, I'm
sir.
sure we'll cross paths again. Good luck to you, Master Carmichael Brand.
And you, Inspector Cleveland. So, gentlemen, when he gets the three guys together, I have to make another appearance. Well, I'm going to make another appearance to Namdek. And it's always a tentative one, and I've only met him alone, so I'm probably going to do it alone again. So I'm going to. How close
are you sure that is wise, sir?
Yeah, it's
Perhaps
never
I should
wise,
join you.
But again, they've done me no harm, and we have a decent working relationship. As long as they come bearing a gift of some sort, I have little to worry about. But they may have some insights into the body switching or personality theft or whatever it is. So
Well,
I'm going to follow up on that.
I'm uncomfortable letting you go on your own, sir.
Indeed.
Well, we could all go, but I suspect they won't meet with us if we all go.
Well, I would not suggest all of us, but I am in your employment.
Our dear departed Zorn struck out on his own. We can
Agreed.
see
I guess one wouldn't hurt anything.
Oh, did anybody grab that book from the warehouse, by the way? The narcotic manuscripts?
If it was available, I would have tried.
The manuscripts Ruben took, and then all the papers,
books. Yeah, but the book.
Yeah, he grabbed all the books. They're in.
He grabbed all the books too.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
That's why he walked out with the books. He went to the carriage.
Keep that in mind, because that's a mythos tome. If anybody happened to study it, takes time and all that, but that you can learn mythos knowledge and maybe spells. I don't know. I have to look up to see what's in it, but I have it here.
Yeah, definitely. I'll definitely be doing that.
Well, when Ruben realizes what he's got with his what's in the possession of us, with his 80 freaking occult, he'll be interested. But at the moment,
75 occult.
He doesn't want to give Namdek another book
No,
because
I'm
if it
not saying
looks
to give it to him. Shit. I mean,
no, not that book. The other books that he had the other volumes
okay,
to.
right.
If he shows up and every time he shows up he has a copy of the book, then it's going to be
Not to
obvious
mention,
to
I mean, those
Namdek.
books could be important to your case if you're still,
Exactly. I don't want to show up with the books every time because then he's going to know I've got the books and he'll come looking for them. I need something else. Or I could just leave it open to
I
him. I'm
suppose
going
you
to leave it
also want to
open.
probably look at those papers now to see what's on there, right?
Yeah,
We
well,
haven't
that's
discussed that yet.
en route. Yeah,
Well, maybe even before you go.
sure.
Yeah. So, like I said, it's very crude scrawled handwriting. Amongst the sketches, one of them is a drawing of the crystal cube, the same one you saw at the seance. It appears to be central to the diagrams. Does anybody have any physics or electrical repair and mechanical repair skill?
Stand by.
It's either a straight physics roll or it's going to be a combination of electrical and mechanical repair.
Mechanical and electrical. He only has the basics.
Okay.
He does have a praise if that comes into it, and a cult if that comes in any of it.
I'm just trying to see if you can make any sense from the formula and the diagrams. But
Gotcha.
no. Okay. Cool.
Do you have a contact at all that might know about such things?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, absolutely, but just not at the moment.
Because that's something we could do while you go to see Namdek.
True. Would I have a point of contact for selling technical manuals to, and perhaps they could decipher it when he was dealing with collectible such items?
I'm sure you'd probably be able to work up somebody. It might take you a day or two to find somebody or to get in touch and to arrange a meeting, etc. But I'm sure you know somebody at university or something,
Right.
or
well,
at the
actually,
museums.
Yeah, I've got connections with the National, what do they call it? National Geographic Society.
Oh yeah. Somebody in there too,
Stuff
probably.
like
Yeah,
that.
that's a good one.
Nice.
That's a real good one.
Yeah, follow up on that in the meantime.
Okay. Does anybody want to look over the book? Like I know Ruben is planning to go meet with Namdek. Augie now has a potential to follow up on these diagrams with people through the National Geographic Society. Belgrave or Gerard, would either one of you have any interest in maybe looking over this book that was discovered at the scene, or do you want to
I
leave
do
that
not.
for later?
Sure.
I was planning on going with Ruben.
Okay, cool. You're going with Ruben.
I'll do it.
Cool. Yep, Gerard seems to be your Cthulhu Mythos guy. Okay, let me just check something here. Obviously, it would take time to read it and study the whole thing.
And go completely insane.
But you can still look over it, kind of flip through it, see what's interesting, what stands out. Like a flip through, it's considered, or whatever. Okay, cool. I would like you to give me a sanity roll.
Okay.
Oh, wait. No, you don't have to give me a sanity roll. I apologize.
Because you go insane.
You just lose 3 points of sanity
Oh, excuse me.
from going through it.
I have 40-something sanity. Not quite my 70-something I had before.
It is translated into English from ancient pre-human fragments by an unknown author in the 15th century, so 400 years ago. You will notice in the kind of forwarding, whatever to it, that the original fragments are purported to have been Hyperborean, or perhaps of even more ancient origin. It seems to discuss various pre-human civilizations, makes mention of something called the Elder Things, the Great Race of Yith, and the Vormis. You see references to a deity-like type creature called Sathagwa. I'll type that in the chat because that's kind of a big word. That's Tsathogua. Yeah, Sathagwa is mentioned in there. There's references to the Hyperboreans, etc., and others. So yeah, you think if you study this book, you'd probably learn quite a bit more about this ancient mythos that seems to kind of loom over everything.
Now, do I think I will lose more sanity by reading the book fully?
Yeah, of course you
Or-
would. You always do when you learn more about the mythos. There are 4 spells in here as well, which you've seen spells before. I don't think you've ever learned any, but you've seen spells
Yeah,
before.
I got some of them from the last one I got.
Did you learn them? No, you just have the book, I think,
Well,
right?
they're down on my sheet.
Oh, are they? Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So you must have learned. So there you
Yeah.
go. So there
Raise
you
the
would recognize
dead.
there's a few different ones in there. There's a couple of contact spells in there, including
Contact as a what?
Contact Elder Thing and Contact Formless Spawn of Sathagwa. There's another one in there, which looks like, just from glancing through it, looks like it creates some kind of magical powder, which when you sprinkle it over a human, exposes alien entities inhibiting the person's body or mind. It's called Identify Spirit.
That kind of sounds familiar, like what we were dealing with.
And then there's another one called Imprisoning the Mind, which destroys an entity's ability to switch minds or possess other beings, or in any other way leave its current body. It would take time to study and try to learn those, of course, but if that's something you want to do later, you could. This is why, like I said, this is why you lost 3 points of sanity, right? Looking at these spells and stuff and the things that it discusses.
Yeah.
Now, you do also find an interesting excerpt in there that catches your eye. And it's actually marked like whoever had the book had taken interest in it. Where's the fucking? There's the passage. It says there are legends that the primordial cone beings had encountered a race which, like themselves, was capable of physically hurling itself through time and space. That this race used strange hypnotic devices, crystal cubes of immeasurable age, to cross the gulfs of space. That this alien race was bent on conquering all the worlds that it came into contact with. That even the cone beings feared the incursions of this race, and thus hid away the crystal device that they had found. And that's a handout which I can send to you, so you'll have a copy of.
Okay.
And let's see here. Yeah, I'm not going to put it up on screen. There's no need for that, but I will just send it to you. So you have it for your own perusal, if you like.
So would I take down notes where I could give them
you
to,
certainly
like,
could be taking down
Ruben or
notes as
whatever?
you're,
Yeah, something that it's not going to affect anybody if I show them my notes from that. Will they be going insane? Possibly. I mean,
if you could paraphrase, basically.
Okay, that's what I'll do. That way I can show it to, like, Ruben or whoever else might be interested and helpful on it.
If they actually tried to look at the spells or look at the writings in the book or whatever, hearing it from somebody else is just hearsay per se. But like if you were reciting it word for word, of course, yeah.
No,
same
I would
shit.
just give them an overview of what was talked about.
Let's see, is this the right handout? I just want to double check. Yeah, this is the one. Okay, handout number 2. Drop that into the chat and send. Coming through to you now on Facebook. Okay, if you just want to read that again later. But okay, now that's taken care of. That's going to take you several hours, by the way. I know I just went over that all real quick.
I understand. Yeah.
But that's the kind of stuff that you're going to learn over the hours while everybody's off running and doing things. August will be going to the National Geographic Society, which we will resolve that now, I think. Let's look at the time. Yeah, we can resolve his trip to the National Geographic Society. Then we'll take a bio break, and then we'll come back and do the meeting with Namdak. Sound good?
Before Augie leaves too, he will also grab the journal that exonerates Bidwell.
Okay, cool. Oops. No problem.
Because he'll want to deliver that information to his contact at Scotland Yard. Possibly in exchange for a guest list. If he has that information, guest list at the Bidwell party.
Right. Okay, cool. So you go stop by you stopped by Scotland Yard to talk to Detective Sergeant Mulverhill, wasn't it?
Mm.
Indeed. Okay. Yeah, and so he'll take you into his office again. It's good to see you again, Master Dunhampton. Is everything all right? You look disturbed.
Yes. Well, a fellow traveler has fallen away. Von Zorn, of whom you are no doubt aware, was found dead at a certain
No.
warehouse. Murdered by all accounts, although the matter is far from clear. And something perhaps we may talk on at some point, but I have delivered to you some valuable information regarding the suspicions hanging over Bidwell. It would appear that the dates within this journal give him and have been confirmed as alibis, which would preclude him from certain murders conducted on the same night. And I'll probably have earmarked the pages or
Right.
slips of paper or something.
He says, this is good. This is very good. Do you mind if I keep this?
Perhaps if I'm to leave it here, it may reveal that this was a matter you were interested in regarding. I can get it to you at a later stage, I'm sure, but if you wouldn't mind, I wouldn't mind returning it from whence I found it.
I see.
But at least you may be aware that such information can be confirmed independently by questioning the witnesses at these locations.
Indeed. So he'll take some notes.
I take it from your investigations of the Bidwell murder, it would be possible to get a list of the other guests in attendance.
I have that information, yes. I'm not officially investigating the murders. I was simply assisting Inspector Cleveland on his investigation, but I do know who was present at the seance that evening.
Well, although the papers may claim on the morrow that the murder has been solved, there are as yet some anomalies, sir, and strange events by the dock, which I think hold a shadow still over the true nature of this crime. And I would appreciate the names on that list.
Very well. He says, well, as you already know, your own Reuben Carmichael Brand and Wilhelm von Zorn and Gerard Bonham were present. John Bidwell, of course. Then the other 9 guests were Annie Besant of the Theosophical Society,
Ooh.
Florence Farr and Dr. William Wynne Westcott of the Golden Dawn, the psychics Robert James Lees and Godfrey Williamson, and how many did I give now? So let's see. There was Reuben, Gerard, Wilhelm, and Dead Bidwell. Then there was Annie Besant, Dr. William Westcott, Robert James Lees, Godfrey Williamson. Okay, cool. There was also a Dr. Peter Begg, Paul Donner, Sir Philip Knight, Dr. Stephen Mathers, and there was 13, right? Warren Puckridge. I think that works out mathematically.
Thank you kindly, sir. For I believe the man or whoever is responsible for the death of Bidwell may indeed also be responsible for the death of Von Zorn, and as such, still needs to be held accountable.
So you believe that this person is still at large. You think that it was not the butler after all? Or
Well, nothing is for sure. But if you cast your eye over the details and also certain oddities that occurred after um, the bodies were discovered at the warehouse, I'm sure you will have some questions also.
very well.
The reporters and the authorities are always hungry for neatly finished investigations. So I'm sure they will be happy to leave it as such.
Of course.
Very well. Thank you for your help, sir. I shall be in touch if such is required.
Thank you for your assistance, brother. Good luck. Okay. So we've got that. And then you go to the National Geographic Society as well after that? Or,
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
to find out about those drawings. So I imagine you probably go to like, because it's well into the afternoon at this point, you probably go to like a gentleman's club or something for those, for explorers or something like that. Or something along those lines, to meet with somebody. Uh, Maybe it's a different gentleman's club. Maybe it's for a completely different purpose, but whatever. A lot of these meetings would happen in gentlemen's clubs.
Yeah.
And I don't mean, of course, the modern day interpretation of gentlemen's club where, half naked ladies serving drinks and giving lap dances, but I mean like actual, like really kind of, you know, nicely laid out lounge type, restaurant type. I mean, they have game rooms and everything, smoking rooms, etc. Some of the best places to get dinners and stuff this time of this time in history, because they were always like really cheap for members, and they were like some of the best meals you could find in the city, quality wise. So you'll find your man, who will have a look. He'll greet you, of course. He is not. Yeah, he's not a mason. He just greets you as a member of the club. Um, the, and connection through the Geographical Society. And let's see here. So he'll take a look at these diagrams. Say, yes. Well, this is all very strange. Where did you find this, August? It looks like something out of a fictional story.
Oh, well, it was perplexing a friend of mine who collects such
Whoever.
strange writings, obscure books and the like, and he was perplexed by it. And I thought, what I need is a learned man's advice on such things, someone who is not lacking in education or either imagination.
I guess not. Whoever invented it, well, he's got a good, bright future ahead of him in his writing career. This looks to be plans for some sort of a transmitting or receiving device, sort of similar to those fancy telephones that they're starting to install in places nowadays, but way more advanced than that. But it all seems central around this interesting object, this crystal cube. Now, I've never seen any object like that before, and I don't really see anything too scientific about that, so that's where the fantasy comes in, you see.
Telephones, you say? So, where did the wires attach?
Yeah, it looks like plans to build some kind of a machine that the crystal cube will then power and allows them to transmit or receive messages, I would say.
Hmm.
Like I said,
See,
it's not a real device, of course. There's no magical cubes that provide power to send out messages that I'm aware of.
is it like a telegraph then?
Yes, something like
So-
that. Yes.
But what about buttons and the like?
But the wires, you see, don't travel beyond the machine itself, so it seems to send these messages without the use of any further wires.
Perhaps ripples in the ether.
Perhaps. Like I said, science fiction. Or, if it were a couple hundred years ago, perhaps witchcraft.
Or mesmeric vibrations. Curious. Well, thank you, sir. You have shed a light upon it, and I will attempt to convey your insights to my friends and hope they find it of interest.
Of course.
Allow me, I say, and I'll buy him a drink and a
Excellent.
cigar and some dinner.
Very good. Okay. So I think that's a good point for us to take a quick bio break. Any opposed? No? Good. There we go. Back in
Motion
the
is carried.
Do 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 do.
When we get back, it'll be probably late. It'll be evening anyway of the 15th.
This is where you run the ads, isn't it?
Do 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 do
That really captures the atmosphere of the game. Yeah.
I was doing all jazz hands, but you didn't get to see it.
Yeah. Well, we're on to something. It's just
Indeed.
tracking down this buddy. Yeah, so I'm wondering if they need the cube to swap bodies or
No, I suspect that the cube is more opening a gate sort of a thing.
yeah, portal.
But whatever happens, no, we just need to get our hands on that cube.
Well, it's interesting that the cube might actually be the Ripper.
I don't know the Ripper has anything to. What are you tying that? Oh, because of the strength thing.
Yeah. And the
I think
the
that
way
might be a red herring.
It's pointed to different individuals, but none of them exclusively. You know what I mean?
Right. I think that might be a convenient ruse.
What was it you guys were worried about? That maybe was it Hudson or Brand might have been the Ripper? Is that right?
Yep, Hudson. I am confident he is. If you read back on the original adventure notes,
I don't think I ever got access to those.
Yeah, I'll find them and zip them off to you before the next session. I'll get them out to you next couple of days. Each one's a case notes, and as the case notes reach the end, the last one, they deteriorate, and the two of them end up missing. And in the first adventure, we found one of them, but not the other, and all evidence points to Hudson being the Ripper. Too many coincidences in his mannerisms and such like that. So yeah, and he's never been found.
Interesting.
Plus, anybody that would pick Van Zorn to be their inheritor, got to be a monster.
Jeez. All right. Internal politics I've missed the development of. Yeah, cool. Back in a minute.
If you think about it, that would be an interesting stretch. A British I mean, certainly they were not socialites by any means, but still a loyal British citizen. I mean, Hudson was a military man, and for him to pick a Prussian in that time period to be his inheritor, that's curious, if nothing else. I know it's just a game, but I'm just saying. Actually, a Prussian with a disdain towards the British. Do 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 hey do 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 do. Hudson and Brand will be right back. Do 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 do. Do 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 do.
What is that? What is that tune from?
I don't know.
Sounds like it may be a few decades ahead of its time for Hudson and Brand.
Just a little bit. I'm thinking
I think,
50s, 60s.
yeah. I think in Victorian London, Baroque music was all the rage.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, if it's not Baroque, don't fix it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah, when my wife and I got married, we did a fairy tale wedding, and for myself and my son, I sewed outfits that were Baroque in style, and I did had a Victorian dress, a 13-piece dress made for my wife.
Nerd.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Sounds cool.
And the pieces that I had for the Baroque outfit were like the collar piece had this trim work, and the trim was almost 200 years old. I got this little spool of trim, and it was handcrafted from Poland, all silk threads and all. It was really, really cool. Had a lot of interesting little tidbits to it.
Sweet.
Yeah, I got to do some fairly high end tailor work for the Miami Opera House. That's where I learned how to sew. I walked into a job while I was in the military with no experience. I was like, oh yeah, sure, I can do that. Bought a sewing machine and taught myself to sew over a weekend and showed up with my machine. I'm ready. Kind of funny. I wasn't ready. But still.
Fake it until you make it.
Yeah, their desperation was far more than my lack of ability. It was mostly repair work. It wasn't constructing from vision or anything.
Hot glue gun.
No, it was all hand stitched stuff.
No, I know.
So I'm not quite back yet. I will be shortly. I'm actually gonna clean the fucking cat box real quick. But she always does this to me, right, when we're gaming. Anyway, so you're going to meet to arrange a meeting with Namdak.
Yeah, I got to come up with something. I got to bring something.
Oh, you haven't come up with that yet? What are you doing over there? Just humming tunes and.
Yeah, I know.
Just sewing.
You don't just walk into Namdak Yu Ying's opium den and start
I think
asking
I think I
questions.
am. I think I'm just going to use the information that the Chinese might have, a threat to their position with some other type of sorcerous nature. And if he hadn't heard about it, that's what I've got, and that's all I've got. And if he has any information, that would be great. And if not, be on the lookout because it's in his neighborhood.
All right. And Belgrave is coming as your bodyguard, so to speak. Your backup,
I guess.
anyway. Not your bodyguard, but
Just don't want him going on his own. But if it happens to come to that, then it comes to that.
Totally makes sense.
I'm no slouch in a fight.
Belgrave, the meat shield.
Belgrave's actually
That's
pretty
necessary.
handy.
Oh yeah. It's not that he didn't want anybody to be there. He just didn't want anybody else to get hurt.
I was kind of hoping you'd take Gerard.
Mm-hmm. They would laugh. Oh, let's break his fingers this time.
Yeah, I mean, Gerard was just used to send a message. I think the message was received, so.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Namdak has anything personal against Gerard. Now, what was that guy's name? Renard. Stanton Renard.
Yeah, Renard.
That would be another story. If you showed up with Stanton Renard, at least one of you probably wouldn't be leaving.
Who was the player for Renard?
Sean Callahan.
Did he have the magic dice?
We're recording, John. Be nice.
No, the character. Did he have magic dice?
Yeah,
Wasn't he
sure.
like a
something like
lucky
that.
gambler or something like that?
Something like that. He was a scoundrel type character anyway. Yeah, he was a procurer and a fence and gets his hands on all kinds of arcane and weird occultic stuff and seedy.
Right.
And that's why he had connections to Namdak. Anyway.
Right. Useful.
All right. Let me see. I'm back. Everybody else back? I think so.
Indeed.
Cool. We shall carry on then. So,
Wayward Son.
So yeah, in the afternoon you head out again back to good old the Limehouse and Lambeth area. With Belgrave, and you start getting the message out that you're looking for a meeting with Namdak.
Yep. Go back to his same table at the same little dive.
Mm-hmm. Let me see here. This is Hudson Brand. Yes. Namdak Yu Ying. There he is. I found him. It's been a while since I pulled this guy out. A little while, anyways, but a few investigations, I think.
A couple of them.
When's the last time you spoke to him?
The Jackal, I believe it. I think the Jackal was the last time.
Maybe so. Okay, well, you do get your meeting. It's going to be in the evening. Because it's not like he's just at your beck and call. But
Sure.
you'll get a meeting with him in the evening. Oh, and that is going to take place again in, let me just fix this right. Do I still have the opium den thing? I think I do, right? Yeah. That.
All right. So, what will he have time in the day to go do other stuff, or am I expected to sit there the whole time?
You probably have a couple of hours to run off and do a couple other things if you wanted to. Yeah.
All right. Well, then maybe something innocuous, like I know it would be a stretch, but something like Tibetan sweets or fruit from that area or spices. Nothing occult, nothing nefarious, just something. An edible something, just something. A nod of something,
A nod of something.
Yeah, no, I mean, if he had kids and all, maybe like a doll or something like that. But I'm thinking maybe in all of his maybe perhaps nefarious dealings, did he come across some other Tibetan normal sort of stuff, not shrunken heads and poisons and so forth, but a spice dealer that might have Tibetan spices or herbs or baked goods or preserved fruit, honey from Tibet or something like that. Something.
Yeah, I don't see why not. I think you could find something. Let's see. Yeah, for sure. You'd be able to find something. What do you want to say? Something edible, something sweet, something.
Yeah, some sort of preserved can, something that would make the trip. Maybe some like kind of like honey nougat or something like that, with some kind of weird ass spices from Tibet. Maybe it's not sweet. Maybe it's savory or something.
You also speak
Yes.
Tibetan, right, as well as Chinese, or is it just Chinese now?
He does. Yeah, originally it had been the Chocho, but
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
in error, so we
That's
changed
a
it to
mythos language, right? Yeah.
exactly. He has 33% in Tibetan.
Okay. Cool. Why don't you roll it for me, please?
Stand by. Let me go back to my dice roller
From a
because
maps
that's how
for
I'm rolling.
Mr.
Ooh,
Fing's imports from the Orient.
37. So I'm going to pay the 4 to succeed.
Okay, cool. So you find something nice then, and hard to find. You're gonna find something. Just quality purposes. So, yeah.
And he will wrap it in red paper.
Okay. Good. So Belgrave, you're running around with him all over, the
Oh, I
Chinatown
actually will
area.
have Belgrave wrap it because I'm betting his wrapping skills are
Probably better than yours.
superb.
Of course, sir.
All right. And then you return to Mr. Fing's imports from the Orient, which has the opium den downstairs.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and the gentleman say, Mr. What would you call him? Mr. Namdak is waiting for you downstairs. And of course, he would have his
Big beefy bodyguards.
his twin bodyguards, right? The big I can't remember what's the guy's name that I use as a reference. I can't remember. Looks like was it Bolo, that big guy from the.
Yeah, Bolo.
Yeah. They're both there, kind of
He's like 5'8".
standing behind him, leaning against the wall. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
Namdak isn't very tall either. He's not 5'8". And Namdak Yu Ying will be sitting there on a mat with an opium pipe, and he'll gesture for you to sit at the mat beside him.
Namdak, this is my man Belgrave.
I'll give a polite bow and then go and stand by the door.
He says, "No, Mr. Belgrave, please come, sit down, join us." You make me nervous. You make me nervous standing over there by the stairs, by the way, because you're in the basement.
Belgrave, come on.
You don't want to make me nervous.
He will gesture over for Belgrave to sit. I'm assuming you're muted.
Oh yeah, we'll go and sit then.
All right, good.
Namdek, I only bother you for an exchange of information this time, and I brought you a little something.
Oh, it's very thoughtful of you.
He'll hand it over.
He'll take the time to unwrap it slowly and delicately and to look at what's inside and say, "Oh, that was very thoughtful of you, Mr. Carmichael Brand. I do appreciate that. What kind of information are you looking to trade today?"
Did you hear about the occurrence in Limehouse?
Yes,
today?
yes. I understand that your partner is deceased.
Indeed.
Should I say commiserations or congratulations?
I'd say in life, it's in these situations, maybe a little bit of both.
So, does this does this increase your power? Are you now the sole owner of the Hudson and Brand Inquiry Agency?
I suspect Van Zorn his manipulations will reach out from the grave and clutch at me like some crazed ghoul. But that's not why I'm here.
Oh.
I wonder if your information also includes that of a witch.
A witch.
Apparently, some sort of witch or sorcerer had switched bodies with a young Chinese lady and one of the constables, one assumes in an effort to escape.
Ah, yes. I heard about the young lady who was arrested at the scene. I understand they are sending her to Bedlam.
That does not surprise me. She had all of the language and knowledge of the constables, so it is between you and I, it is my assumption that their personalities have been swapped.
Oh, that does sound like sorcery.
It does indeed, and I know that one, I come for your arcane experience and wisdom, and two, I told you that I would, at any point, if I heard anything about the Chinese, let you know. And I thought that maybe, perhaps, they'd called in some sort of hired gun, sorcery speaking.
Yes, the Sifan. They are muscling in on Limehouse. Have you heard of them?
Not called that in particular, no. But now that I have a name, I'll know what to look for.
How about the name Fu Manchu?
Yes,
He
I
is
am
their
quite familiar
master,
with. Ah,
but he's not in London. He's still in the Orient.
he would be someone that would be a formidable foe.
They say you can learn a lot about a man based on the quality of his enemies. He smiles.
Indeed. So, Namdek, is there anything you can tell me that you've experienced, like something about what this witch did?
No, not really. I can tell you, however, that your man, Von Zorn, the dead one, he was seen in the neighborhood only the night before. Apparently, he murdered two young Chinese men and threw them into the river.
I'd heard that as well, though I suspect at this point that it was not Van Zorn at that. It was, in fact, the witch, because Van Zorn did not have the strength to do so.
Hmm.
Hence my trepidation. So this witch could be anywhere.
Witch, sorcerer, if it's either of these things. Perhaps it is something far worse. There are worse things than witches and sorcerers, you know.
Indeed.
Could be dealing with some kind of intruder from beyond.
Hmm.
Beyond where? Well, again, I don't have any answer. There are many
It,
things beyond this mortal realm of ours, however.
is there any sort of charm or ritual that one could prepare themselves? Maybe carry around a cat? Is there something that we can do to give us some sort of alarm for this?
Be careful if this thing indeed can take form or take over the minds and bodies of anyone that it encounters. You just don't know who you can trust. And he looks over at Belgrave and smiles.
And I'll nod politely.
Even your best friend could be found at your bedside, preparing to strangle you or snap your neck.
Indeed. So that was a no to the cat.
No, I don't believe a cat will protect you.
Just looking for some warning, not necessarily protection.
Perhaps.
How about something?
That would be a poor way to treat a cat.
Indeed, it was just.
If you're hoping that I would know something about this entity that you're pursuing. I'm afraid I do not.
That was my hope. But if not, at least I was able to pass that along. So if this Fong organization has called someone in, and it is indeed not some entity, makes me wonder though, why would
The CFON.
FIFON, excuse me, the FIFON, if this was indeed an entity, why would it hunt amongst the common people? Seems like it would have more of a mission at hand, something more important to do.
Well, perhaps
Unless it's like some kind of wild dog or something.
Perhaps it's how it feeds. Perhaps it gains strength from each person who it conquers.
Indeed.
Perhaps it needs this strength to achieve whatever its goal is. Or maybe it just likes toying with us.
Well, if I find out anything more, then as per our agreement, I will definitely share it, and I would hope that you would do the same.
Of course.
We
If I find out
definitely-
any more, I am always watching the movements of the CFON. I will keep my eyes open and let you know. I can contact your little birds, you call them,
Indeed.
if I need to. I know they keep an eye on me and some of my businesses.
I assure you, it's nothing nefarious. They just try to keep an eye on everything. It's good practice.
Of course. Every man wants to protect his castle.
Indeed. Thank you for your time. Enjoy your sweets. Belgrave?
Takes a drag off the opium pipe.
Sir?
We are off, sir.
Very good, Master Carmichael. And get up and escort him out.
Yeah. They don't follow you out or anything. They just let you leave.
Mm.
They stay there.
Okay.
You never know with that one. He's like a snake or another reptile. You can't make out much of them from their eyes. You never know if he's gonna bite you or leave you a gift.
Mm.
Well, he gave you some things anyway. He told you about the CFON.
Oh no, absolutely no. I was saying in general
I'm
the danger.
Just saying, again, collating the information.
Yep.
He
No,
mentioned
definitely.
the CFON. He mentioned that somebody that he knows anyway. Somebody also told him that Wilhelm was in Limehouse that night and had killed
Yep.
2 young Chinese men and thrown their bodies in the river. That's something the police didn't tell you or don't know or something.
Yep, I caught that.
Yeah, so there you go.
Makes sense why they found no bodies.
Indeed.
Well, at least I put the feelers out because he's going to have contacts with a lot more of the lower life that will talk to him before they talk to us. I just have to have something more than candy next time. So in that particular case, he will definitely put feelers out to find whatever Tibetan sort of stuff he can. Maybe another set of clothing or something directly from Tibet. Even maybe some kind of chocho ritual outfit or something like that, a hat.
Okay.
Anything like that.
So now it's evening time. It's actually late. It's past dinner time.
Right.
On the 15th of December, the Tuesday. Do you head back to the agency from there, or?
Of course, yeah. That was the plan.
And I presume everybody will kind of meet back up at the agency. Gerard has had his nose dug in that book all day, and August has run a couple of errands, gone to the Masonic Temple, and also met with his friend from the Geographical Society, both in the afternoon. So
I had to step away. I missed it. I assume he told the Masonic Lodge that their man was not the Ripper.
Of course he did. Yeah, that's the whole purpose he went for, I think, right? So,
Yeah.
Um,
Hey, they might give him another pin or some kind of star or whatever for that.
okay, so you can all meet back at the Hudson Brand office for dinner, unless you want to go out for dinner or something. I don't know. It's late.
No. Yeah. We'll eat whatever Markham left for us.
Okay. Yeah, it's probably something pretty simple. He can cook, but he's not the best cook. He doesn't try to go all out. He leaves that to Mrs. Levi for making the pies and such.
Right.
Could I do? I'm wondering how difficult it would be to like track down this. Would they like at Scotland Yard? Would they have had a ledger of constables of the city or anything like that?
I'm sure they
They
would have
keep-
something. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I mean,
they have to have some kind of records.
well, it's just August is probably like brushed up against occult things and rituals and stuff like that. But for his own confirmation, he would like to confirm the personality transference of the constable. So, and the only way you can think of doing that is by confirming
Finding out
his
if
identity.
Martha was
and
the name of his mother. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So you try to go by Scotland Yard to see if you can find that information.
Yeah, or if it's more convenient, if we could just say I did that while I was there.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Martha was indeed the name of Bill Baker's mother.
Astounding.
Of course, the police don't believe it. They don't believe in mind transferring magic and shit like that. And that's why the crazy Chinese lady speaking with a Cockney accent has been confined to Bedlam as insane.
Well, yeah, when we all meet up again, we'll share that confirmation. And what else would he say? Oh, yeah, obviously, and relay the information that the expert from the society or his opinion he had of the diagrams. Some kind of communication device or transmission, but without wires. Of course, he thought it was some product of, I don't know, some kind of Jules Verne concoction. Science fiction, I believe they call it.
All centered around the cube, you say?
If it's some sort of communication device, then who are they meant to be communicating with?
There was talk of the other. No, there was not. Did we share all that from Gerard? Or did he keep that to himself?
He hasn't said anything yet.
Fair
well,
enough.
I was going to talk to Ruben privately because I don't want these other people to, hear things that may give them nightmares. So I'd let him make the choice on it. So I would assume I would have passed the paper to him and kind of discussed him privately a little bit about what was said and let him make the choice.
Well, at the note of the communication, then
he probably would have slipped you that handout passage, right? Something like that written.
Sure.
I would presume, right? And would you have made mention also of the spells you found in the book in your note?
I would just say there was some spells in there.
Okay, cool. So you got the
on
Mythos Tome passage, which I could repeat for you. There are legends that the primordial cone beings had encountered a race which, like themselves, was capable of psychically hurling itself through time and space. That this race used strange hypnotic devices, crystal cubes of immeasurable age, to cross the gulfs of space. That this alien race was bent on conquering all worlds that it came into contact with, that even the cone beings feared the incursions of this race and thus hid away the crystal device that they had found. And this is all in the Narcotic manuscript, which is meant to depict pre-human history. And he would also, of course, make mention to in there that there were also several spells found in the tome.
Yeah, I would mention in the spell, just a little marking after the spells, they a couple of them had to do with taking over another body, and the other one had to be protecting from taking over another body. If I remember them right.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yep. So I think probably the easiest way to communicate that probably would have been just to pass him like a note. So you could be reading that as you guys are eating
Yes.
your reheated dinner.
Well, that will definitely pique his occult interest, but he will play it down. And at the note of at the mention of communicating who to communicate with, certainly some nefarious type. No doubt, the mastermind of all this. Perhaps the one that commands that Jack the Ripper type. Thrusting pokers into people's chests and breaking necks, indeed.
Yes. It is strange, but worthy of mention. When I was in Africa, I was able to witness all sorts of remarkable things, and I thought them, well, I'm not one for superstitions and the like, but I have seen equally strange things performed on the stage by certain mesmerists. Feats of great strength, bloodless wounding, and the like. And it may surprise you to know that I inquired after the identity of this constable that fled the scene, and the voice of which we heard so convincingly uttered from the throat of that young celestial, that the mother she claimed was indeed the mother of the constable. Remarkable, what?
That is indeed remarkable. If that man is indeed in that body, that is a true shame that he is stuck in Bedlam. If I only had some contact to get him out.
Yes, I see your point.
Or if I only knew someone that had a high enough status enough to make an impact. Is a 50, 55 high enough? Would that be higher than the colonel that we know?
I don't believe so.
Who's the highest ranking person that we would have access to that's friendly?
Van Zorn was 65, I think.
Yeah, well, his 65 is negative 65
if
at
I
the moment.
recall correctly, I think he was 65. 65 is on level with like nobles. Not necessarily royalty, but like noble families and stuff would be like 65 plus. That's very rich. Let me see here. If I go back to
There's two thoughts. One is if it's at all possible in the corruption that exists to just get that person out. And if we can't get them out.
So 50 is the lowest level of wealthy.
And August, you have a what?
50.
50
is wealthy.
So I'll give him
beginning level wealthy.
I'll give him an extra pound, so he'll be 51.
A pound does not equal 1 credit rating, I'm afraid.
I imagine he married into wealth. Like maybe his wife was like a lady so-and-so or whatever.
Gotcha. Well,
the upper class, 50 is still middle class. Upper class starts at 65%.
Well, then I will leave it to your judgment call. Which do you think seems to be a reasonable reach that we can reach into this corrupt system and get him out, get the woman out? And if that's not an option, then could we perhaps slide some ducats that way and get a private room where there isn't any beatings?
Yes, I can only imagine. It'll be ice baths for her, and no doubt certain application of electrical stimulation.
At the least.
Well, perhaps
If the rumors are true,
but
the whites get treated poor enough. I can't imagine what they would do to a Chinese.
But what recourse for this unfortunate individual? Would you give them a place here at your agency?
Truthfully, if they have been shifted in personality, I feel for the citizen, for the constable, being pulled into some supernatural thing with no recourse. That is what we do, after all. And if nothing else, just to give the person some shelter and direction that's not in an asylum is what I was thinking.
I wonder if the procedure is reversible at all.
That is a thought. Plus, if we got this person into a quiet room, we might be able to get more information other than I'm in the wrong body.
Well, what is your opinion of this psychic? I believe, Reuben, sir, you were not here, but a psychic came with some ramblings or other, although he did point out a connection to a word at the time he visualized or some such as Dugan or Duncan, which the credulous amongst us may connect to the warehouse. Perhaps if we may get this individual from the good house of Bethlehem and this psychic together, they may be able to give us some information.
First things first.
My thought on that matter would be is that the information that we received from said psychic was no use to us until after we had arrived on the scene, too late to be of any assistance to Mr. Van Zorn. There's no guarantee that any information they provide after said fact would again be useful until after someone has maybe lost their life in the meantime.
Yes. And there was something a little suspect with his aspersions and accusations and the like. Now, do we believe this swapping of bodies or personality transference is connected to this cube? I'll say, like tapping the diagram of the cube on the table.
That's entirely possible. But the only living connection that we've got at the moment is the constable and or Chinese woman.
Markham comes out with coffee. He's pretty. He's been pretty quiet most of the day, but he was a Mrs. Levi made another strudel yesterday in case Master Van Zorn should return home. Would you like me to bring it out, sir?
Indeed. I think we all should have a piece in his memory.
Very well, sir.
If you insist, sir.
So he'll come back out then a little bit later with the strudel and brandy. And this time he doesn't even ask. He just has glasses for everyone, including himself. And just pours them. Strudel and brandy, would that work? Yeah, I guess it would work. Why not?
Sure it would. Fruit and fruit.
To Mr. Zorn, a gallant man on his final ride.
The best Prussian I've ever known.
Marco would drop down his glass. Pardon me, sir, for eavesdropping, but is it your intention to find and kick the ass of this alien entity or whatever it is that is responsible for the demise of our young master?
That would be a definite truth, Markham.
Very good. And he pours everyone another glass.
Yes, sir. You can count on it. Even now, we are on its trail. And I'll kind of hold out my hand as he goes to refill my glass and hold the empty glass up to the gaslight. Something strikes me here. And I'll offer it to be filled and then drink it down again. I say, we often fill and empty and transfer, and I cannot help but notice some remnant is left within the vessel. And I'll show like the drip of is it claret? What are we drinking again?
It's brandy.
Randy.
Brand. Yeah, some remnant of collects in the bottom of the empty glass. And I'm wondering, this young woman in Bedlam, whether the transfer may leave some other information mixed in with the spirit itself.
That is a good thought. All the more reason for us to gain at least an audience, if not get her out of there, him out of there. Very confusing.
We shall see what we can do on the morrow. Perhaps we would need some kind of medical referral. Does anyone have any
Contacts with
medical?
medical, but they unfortunately are ones that would be involved with like opening up brains and so forth, not necessarily what we're looking for.
Perhaps it's simply a matter of money. If no money was forthcoming to pay for this person, yes, we could take custody of them to transfer them, at least ostensibly, to the asylum that you mentioned.
The Mercy Hill.
Or at
Albrecht
least
Asylum. Albrecht
or at
Asylum
least
is specifically for the upper
the rich.
class and the rich. Yeah.
But we might be able to go that angle as far as paying
Exclusively.
Bedlam to free up a bed.
Yeah, I think
and then take responsibility for said person to be dealt with them privately.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Somebody in this room, or at least one somebody, if not more, may have connections to somebody that could forward the doctor's orders.
Yeah, Gerard does have rich relatives, correct? High positioning relatives?
No, they're not in any high position. They're off continent. They are on the continent, away from me.
Gotcha.
It's really, yeah. Unfortunately.
So we're thinking that if we can't come up with anything legitimate, we could forge the name away. Is that what we're thinking?
That's just something that's thrown out there.
Yeah, I mean, money just might do it by itself, but the only other precaution would be to kind of have the appearance of some, like, why are we interested in this person?
Exactly. We pretty much. I think you're right. I think this is a one and done. I don't think we'll get multiple chances of this without arising suspicion.
So experimental therapy, or the fact that the thing that's going for this case is that it's a strange case of personality transference, but I think money will probably do it. Pretty confident.
Maybe if we use the excuse of that she's Asian and that we're doing some kind of research upon Asian, you know,
Agreed.
whatever that may
Did I
be.
hear? Yeah.
They're probably not too hip on having Asians in their sanitarium anyway.
Go the racist angle. Well, you were a stage magician, is that right?
Different
No, that's a
character.
different character.
Right.
Oh, okay.
He moved to India.
Yep. After he lost his shit, went super crazy for a little bit.
Yeah, he did several months.
Mm-hmm.
So, here's another idea, just tossing it out there. Someone, myself, or somebody that hasn't been out there yet could come in and say, this was one of their servant maids, and they found out that she was here, and I'm coming to take her to the family doctor or the doctor that they see, whatever.
The one issue I would find with that is I can't see anyone who would employ servants of her, well, of her race, that would care two bits if she went crazy and went off to Bedlam. They would wipe their hands of it and pretend they never had such a eyesore in their home. At least if stories among other help I have heard in the past or any indication.
Ruben goes
But
to
it may be worth it.
Ruben goes to the library and pulls out a book. This just came out last year. The strange case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Do we know if this Dr. Jekyll is actually a real person with this bit of fancy written about him?
No, you talking about who wrote that book?
Robert Louis
Stevenson wrote that one, I believe. The original. Robert Louis.
Fictional.
Yeah, it's a fictional person.
It's about the id, releasing the id.
Right.
Yeah, I know it gets a little bit confusing since we decided to make Sherlock Holmes a real character in this campaign.
Yeah, that's what I was asking.
No, Dr. Jekyll is not real.
All bets are off.
Thank you.
Master Bonham, though, does raise an interesting point about family going in to collect the woman. Perhaps one of us could pretend to be her husband, come to collect her.
Ooh. Get a forged
Get a
marriage
chance,
certificate?
indeed, and get some time alone with him to explain the situation to the young man and get him to play along long enough to get out of there.
We could bribe them to pass a note to be prepared to accept the one coming as a husband. Good call. That is something that money could do easily.
I would not have thought of it had it not been for Mr. Bonham's suggestion.
So who's going to be the lucky husband?
Well, I don't see any one of Sir's statures as being a likely choice. I would be willing to play the part if you wish.
I think you should do that well. Or you did. I didn't know if you had been out there and you had been seen with Ruben.
Oh, I have indeed, but I can dress down if needed.
Yeah, he hasn't been to Bedlam. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. That's fine.
I don't think. Have you? No.
No. I had no reason to go there.
No, because your former master didn't go there. He had private care at home. You guys do have a friend there currently as well.
That's what I was asking. I thought we did have somebody there.
In Bedlam? Yeah, she's a patient. She's insane.
I've never met that lady either, so.
Right. Sorry. So I guess Ruben and Gerard are the only ones who know her. But she is, she was insane when she went into Bedlam. She's probably even more insane now. You know, people don't usually get better there.
Right. No, that's exactly right. So what I can do is in the morning I can go and visit our former adventurer, and in the process pass a note along to the intended and tell them to prepare to play along with the husband to pick her up and take her away, and then we would assist them.
Tell them that they will recognize him by the pink handkerchief in their coat pocket.
Pink handkerchief.
I can't imagine many men at this time. Well, I don't know. That color is an odd color, but it's distinctive enough that I think that you're not going to see guys with pink handkerchiefs
not
walking
gonna be
into
a bunch
Bedlam
of guys
every
walking around.
goddamn day. Yeah.
Definitely.
I have a bit of scrap left over from the present I'm making for my sister at this time.
And will we be using your real name?
Oh, I think that would probably not be a good decision. Whatever name you decide. How about?
It must be a name you're comfortable with, sir.
What is this guy's first name again? I forgot.
Clarence?
Call him Belgrave.
Was it Clarence?
Clarence.
Belgrave?
Yeah, Clarence. I thought it was Charles for some reason. How about
Close.
Charles?
And he's gone.
Oh, the suspense.
Charles what? I don't know. Something with a B. Charles
Brown.
Charles Brown.
Charles Brown. No.
No, I didn't even. You asshole.
Good grief.
Why not Charles Brown, though? I mean, come on. It's not like that name means anything in this time. It's just a name for a fake alias.
How about Charles Brady?
Brady. Okay, that works. Charles Brady.
All right, so let's write this note up. Charles Brady, to expect husband Charles Brady, pink hanky, to collect. And we will go with perhaps the, I wonder if we could get a doctor to come along with us. Say it was for personal care. Now, any doctor I know.
You do know a doctor.
I know, but any doctor I know would be known in the city, so let's not get anybody else involved.
What's the guy that lives next door to you?
The ear, nose, and throat guy.
Yeah.
Do you want to involve more people in this?
Yeah, no, we don't want to involve him. Didn't he retire? Didn't we send him away in retirement because of all the stuff that was going on?
No.
Well,
just hasn't been involved.
Do we have any idea, like, I mean, how difficult is it to get people out of, like, as long as they're not violent?
As you said, anything can be done with money, but I'm just not sure how much it's going to take. So that's why I was trying to do this first.
Well, think about who you're dealing with, right? Or think about, who you're, not so much who you're dealing with, but who you're trying to get out. She's an unknown, unnamed, crazy Chinese lady that got arrested in Limehouse. She speaks with a Cockney accent. She thinks she's, a constable named Bill Baker, blah, 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 blah.
How much money do you think it would take?
I don't think it would, well, what do you think? Do you think it would take a lot of money to get something like that out? Do you think anybody's...
No, I don't, but I just want to know how much to bring.
I don't think it would take very much. I mean, we don't have to go into exact numbers.
$1,000?
It's just because we could get her out just as a curiosity, you know what I mean? Like
I think like a moderate bribe, if a bribe even becomes necessary, would do, because nobody really cares, and nobody's paying for her to be there. She's state funded essentially now, right? So
fair enough. So
we'll be happy enough to get rid of her, probably.
We'll bring some cash along with us. We'll have Belgrave pretend to be the husband, and Ruben will go ahead just ahead, maybe an hour before, and he'll go in with the ruse to speak to a long lost friend, and then bribe his way into speaking with the Chinese person.
Okay, so that's the plan for the next day.
Well, yeah, we can't do it tonight, so yeah.
Breaking Bill Baker, or at least contacting Bill Baker from Bedlam. Breaking Bill Baker from Bedlam. Ugh. A lot of alliteration going on there.
Why don't we use the last name Baker? It's a name he's familiar with.
Oh, it's a good call.
Yeah, Charles Baker.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Sure.
Hence the break.
Oh, I think John muted himself.
Nope, I'm here.
Okay. You cut off in the middle of your sentence there, but yeah.
Hence the break.
Okay. Okay, cool. So that's the plan for Wednesday, the 16th of December. However, it is getting pretty late, so I think we better stop there.
Very good.
Excellent.
That is where we currently are, so I'm going to underline it so don't forget. Cool. All right, guys, thanks for playing. I'm going to end the broadcast there.